Hello and welcome to the first Technology Triumphs tutorial video. For those that you don't know, I'm Pip and I'm the founder for Technology Triumphs. I'm the person who has written the course and who will be guiding you through and providing the work and also giving you your feedback every term. So this is for the Level 1 award in Creative Craft Jewellery Making, which I'm very excited about because I studied goldsmithing and silversmithing at uni for 3 years. That's what my degree is in. So it's my passion and hopefully it will become yours as well. Just to let you know a little bit more about how the course is going to run. So you may already know that you're going to be receiving work booklets for the first year of the course. And this will give you tasks to complete on a term-by-term basis. It will be a mixture of different things, so there'll be some research, some planning, some design, and obviously making jewellery as well. So some written, some drawing work, and then some hands-on practical work as well. You'll get lots of guidance on how to do this, and obviously these tutorials are going to be provided to help you through as well. Most of the information you need to be able to complete the work booklets will come through the tutorials, but there will be some extra research tasks that you'll need to do as well. So here is the workbook that I keep talking about. This is for term 1. So you can see that there's going to be a list of topics and themes you'll be covering within that terms of work. This one starts off with a bit of a research task. The information to be able to complete this sheet will be given in the tutorial largely, but there may be a couple of little things that you'll have to look up. But then it goes on to providing space for you to provide your photographic evidence of your practical work. Again, you'll be walked through that during the tutorials. It's only really a few pages long for a term worth of work, but because a lot of that is practical and design work, it might be a little time consuming. How you manage your time is entirely up to you. You may want to set aside a couple of hours per week per term. I would say 2 hours per week as a rough estimate, but some people might work faster and some people might need a little bit more time. You could even do the whole project in 1 week. It's entirely up to you, and whatever fits in well with your life and is going to work for you and your family. That being said, you don't need to just be restricted to this booklet. If you wanted to do more design work or further research and submit that as extra evidence, then by all means please do. That would be great too. So that's how the first half of the course is going to run. The second half is going to be slightly different from that. The idea being that you've already learned some skills and have a good amount of knowledge to be able to complete a jewellery making project from start to finish. So instead of workbook based, you're going to be much more sketchbook based, which is how, if you were to go on and do further education of a higher qualification in a creative course, you would be working in sketchbooks. So this gives you a lot more freedom because you're not restricted to just the tasks I set you. I'll give you the guidance on what sort of work you should be doing in your sketchbook and obviously giving you feedback on that. But you can start developing your own working style and have a lot more creative freedom that way. So hopefully that gives you a better idea on how the whole course will work. So alongside the termly feedback that you'll get from me, you've also got access to the dedicated Facebook group, which you should find is a really nice forum for sharing ideas or asking for extra help. I monitor it daily, but sometimes, often, I've found this with another qualification, before I even get a chance to respond, you'll have 3 or 4 other students who have given you an answer in relation to your question. And it's a great little community for helping each other out. So you've got that resource available to you, but obviously I'm contactable as well if you're really stuck or just want some extra advice or guidance on an aspect of your work. So the next thing we need to talk about is how you're going to actually make your jewellery and what you need to do that. So obviously you'll have my tutorials to walk you through how to make things, but you need some resources in advance of starting the course. The main material we're working in is polymer clay, and there are some other sundries, so materials that are going to be used up and tools that you're going to need to buy as well. So we're just going to talk through those now. So as I've already said, the main material we're using is polymer clay. You can buy these online. There's various sites that you can buy them from. I personally wouldn't recommend getting them from a craft shop. Some of the larger chains have much higher markup on these, and you'll end up spending a lot more money that way. When you purchase them in a set like this, normally it comes in 2 layers for a beginner set. And when you open it, as well as all the different colours of polymer clay you should find you'll have a little packet of findings. So these are the pieces that we might use to make key rings and earrings, etc. These are just very, very basic, cheap version. When we're making the jewellery for your booklet, we'll be using silver plated findings, so it's making the jewellery a little higher quality. But these are great for practicing on and just playing around with the clay, because obviously it's going to be a case of the more you experiment with the clay, the better you'll become at producing some of the techniques. You'll also find perhaps that you get a packet of sculpting tools that come with the polymer clay. And again, these are great for just playing around with and just to start off with, but aren't the highest quality. I personally would recommend purchasing a set of sculpting tools separate to the polymer clay that you buy, because it tends to be the cheap plastic versions that come with these, and not many of them. If you look online, you can find clay sculpting tools. Don't even have to look for polymer clay sculpting tools, they kind of do the same thing. And what you want is a variety of tools with different shapes and ends, because this is going to allow you to create different textures and form within your polymer clay. So I have a set of wooden clay sculpting tools like this. There's about 10 of them in the set that I've got, and I've also got a set of silicone tools as well. And if you notice, the ends here are made from silicone. They're nice and soft and malleable. This means that when you're working with polymer clay, it's going to be able to smooth out the clay, and things like your fingerprints can be removed quite easily with these. And then I've got these domed tools as well, which are great for playing with the clay. So I personally would recommend spending about £10 on a set of tools that aren't the ones that come free with the polymer clay. But it's totally your call. You might find that you open these tools up and get on with them absolutely fine. There's no necessity to purchase another set. I just would recommend it. So alongside that, I also purchased a set of these tools. Now these aren't specific to polymer clay. Some people might recognise these. These are from a DIY section of a very discounted store where everything costs £1, and they came in a set of 5, and they're actually used in DIY for plastering. But these are great as cutting tools for your polymer clay, because they're not so sharp that they're going to injure you like a knife might, but because they're so thin, it's great for cutting up the polymer clay, or even just scraping up remnants. So if you can find a set of these, I think these are particularly handy and great in terms of budget as well. As well as those, something you're going to need in terms of putting your jewellery together are some pliers. Now, your standard toolbox pliers will probably be too big and chunky for what we want to do, so you do want jewellery making pliers. So as a minimum, I would suggest 2 pairs of pliers, and these are slightly different from one another because they have different uses, and it's not the colour that makes them different, it's the shape of their noses. So this one here, if I show you, these are called needle nose pliers. So these are my favourite to use, and I can't even justify why. I just tend to favour these when I'm making jewellery. And they're spring loaded, so this bit here means that there's a resistance. Again, some people prefer that. I do. So I know other jewellers that remove those and they prefer to have the control themselves. But so either way, whatever works for you, needle nose pliers I would say are a must, and then also a pair of flat nose pliers. So in here you'll see they've got flat edges. Okay, alongside that, you are going to really benefit from a pair of wire cutters. So when we're working in silver wire, just trimming up is going to make your life a lot easier, having a pair of wire cutters specifically to do that job. Something else you might already have or want to purchase, I've got a tin of little cookie cutters, but they like I say, very little cookie cutters. These are great. You can see I've got the remnants of clay on these. These are great, the smaller versions for cutting out particular shapes very neatly and quickly. You don't want large cookie cutters because the jewellery might end up being a little bit oversized. So something that might be something you already have in the cupboard. If you are going to use it for polymer clay, I would say you need to dedicate it solely to polymer clay. You don't want to then start cutting up food, because I don't think that's going to be very hygienic or taste particularly nice either. Later on in the course, you might have seen on the curriculum overview, we're going to be using silicone moulds. Now here's an example of a silicone mould. So it's very flexible, which is great for being able to remove the polymer clay. Again, there's so many different types of these. You want to make sure when you get to this point that you get a mould that has small pieces within it. You don't want great big ones, because again, we're making dainty pieces of jewellery. You might want to hold off buying these just yet, because it might be that as you work through the course you want to follow a particular theme. You're going to be set a theme of sea life, hence I've got a shell one here, but it might be that you want to focus on shells, somebody else might want to focus on fish, somebody else might want to focus on coral, for example. And you can get, I've seen many variations of these types of moulds, and you can get almost anything really in a silicone mould, even mermaids I've seen as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm determining for certainly the first 6 months that you'll need for the course. Hopefully it's cost effective and isn't going to break the bank. It might be something that as you get more and more into the jewellery making, you decide actually you want to invest in some more tools, or perhaps ask for them as birthday and Christmas presents. But yeah, as a bare minimum, you're going to need a set that looks something like this. Just a couple of final notes. As you're aware, you're completing the work booklets as evidence of you achieving the skills and the knowledge for the qualification. How you complete the work booklet is entirely up to you. You can either print it out and handwrite, or you can type it up. Either is perfectly fine. Just know as well that there's no penalisation for spelling mistakes and grammar. There's nothing to account for that at all in the qualification, so don't worry about that side of things too much. I'm a dyslexic myself, so I can fully appreciate a lot of creative people are, so either way, typing or handwriting is perfectly fine by me, so long as I can read it and make sense of it. And you will have to, with the illustration side of things, you'll have to upload those images as well. So whether you're writing straight onto the booklet and then drawing onto the pages, you may need to just photograph your work and then upload it to your Dropbox folder, or if you're electronically typing onto your workbook, you may then have to upload a hand-drawn picture, which you then add it into your Dropbox folder. As well as that, as evidence, from time to time you may be aware you'll need to complete your own videos for me to be able to say that yes, that student is definitely doing that work and they've learnt those skills. So I need to see videos of you actually doing the practical work. There will be loads of guidance on this. I'll tell you exactly what I need to see. They don't have to be lengthy videos, it just needs to be clips so I can see that you have developed the skill. And they don't have to go publicly onto YouTube. You can create a YouTube video like I have done and close it so that it's not accessible to the public and can only be accessed via the very complicated link. So that's how most people tend to do it on my other qualification. Some people upload MP4s direct to Dropbox, but that can use up a lot of your storage space, so you may want to consider the YouTube way. And then aside from that, all there's left for me to say today is if you could leave me your feedback in relation to this video on the Facebook group, in terms of, was it clear enough? Is the lighting good enough? Can you see what I'm doing? Can you understand what I'm saying? Am I talking too fast? Am I talking too slow? Does it go on too much? Any of that information would be gratefully received. I can take criticism because obviously how I then conduct the rest of the videos will be dependent on what everyone feeds back. If you're happy with us to go ahead in this format, then that's how the videos are going to be completed for the entire course. So thank you in advance for that feedback, and I look forward to us starting our jewellery making journey together.